Welcome, my Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus sign. Welcome to your work, career, and vocation read for August and September 2021. I am your reader, Angelo Lyons, Mal for short, professional witch, professional intuitive, president of DrawingTheCircle Production since 1998, author of Words of Grace from a Professional Witch, now available on Kindle. Link in the description box. Leo rising, Mars conjunct the Archangel of Lions, Angelo Lyons. But you can call me Mal. Hey, my Leos, I know you got 2 readings from me in one day. Well, you know, the full moon's coming. I'm doing 2 series parallel, side by side, going with the guidance and the grace, doing them in zodiacal order. So I think this is my last one for the day. So let me give you the very best, right? Just when you thought your chance had passed. I wouldn't save the best for last. I always say that for Pisces, but, you know, I think you're my last one for the day. We'll see. I'll do Virgo tomorrow with fresh eyes and refreshed spirit. Let's talk about this. If you are new to the channel, this is what I call a 3-level of power reading. There is a link in the description box by Carolyn Myss, PhD, author. If you want to look down there, you'll see the link. It's called 3 Levels of Power by Myss, MYSS. This is her deck. We're going to be starting off with one of her mini card systems. This is a healing system, not necessarily divinatory. The archetype cards in alignment with her work of Sacred Contracts. Brilliant, life-changing book. But it's a lens, a way of looking at your life. 3 levels of power. Work, career, vocation just being one of them. To me, I fuse them all together as life purpose. So of course this is about making money, but it's also about fulfilling your soul and following your spiritual calling, and I'll explain that as we go. If you would like a private reading with me, just know I'm never going to reach out to people privately and say, would you like a reading? I don't do that. I don't do that. You have to come to the witch. Really, you have to go to the witch in the woods. We're not allowed to make house... Well, yeah, I make house calls, but we're not supposed to go door to door. That's not who we are anymore. I don't know that we ever were. Right? The shaman doesn't go, I'm not a shaman. I'm not claiming that word. Oh, no, don't cancel me over that. But the shaman really didn't go from hut to hut, right? From cabin to cabin, from lodge to lodge. No, you had to go to the edge of the tribe to find the shaman, and that's where you will find me here in Old Brook, New York. So if you are interested in getting a private reading with me, I did a video called Booking a Reading with Mal. Not just how to book me, but what goes on in a reading. And particularly, I love this part, and I love telling people about it, that I ask my clients to get back to me 48 hours after the reading, or the spiritual counseling for that matter, to let me know how the energy integrated, because the words just float on top of a lot of energy flying through me at them. So, yeah, if you're interested, check it out. And like I said, my book, Words of Grace, is on Kindle, $9.99 USD, if you want to go check it out. All right, enough. It's a general read. You know that. You might want to check your other signs, because I find in each of these readings there's one of the 3 levels of power, work, career, vocation, that has your leverage. Like fine-tune, tweak that one, and the other ones will resonate along with it. You know, my mom gave me this when I went visiting Saratoga. It's 7 chakra bracelets, and they're a little cat toyish, and I'm really digging it, except a couple of the little ball clasps holding them in place slide a little bit. So we'll work on that, I guess. Otherwise, both feet on the floor if you can. Focus on your breath, if you will. I will do the same to get you the clarity, guidance, and grace that I can through these 4 decks of cards, which 12 cards will hit the table total in this spread. And yeah, tons of good linky dinkies in the description box if you want to check it out. Let's do this. Please take a nice deep breath. Ah, Leo, Leo, Bobito, Banana, Fana, Fofio. I call upon my collective pantheons of angels, archangels, goddesses, gods, ascended masters, and the higher selves of all involved. Please. I need 3 Caroline Myss archetype cards to look at the 8th chakra dynamic of work, career, and vocation, life purpose. For the Leo collective Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. I do these readings for myself and clients all the time, so we can spare me this one perhaps, because not many people have work, career, and vocation like I got it, though I'm sure there's a bunch of us out there. So please, let's start with their work. Their physical power, the literal level of power, how they navigate, really lower 3 chakra dynamic, root, sacrum, solar plexus dynamic, what they do to survive. Not a lot of people only get paid for their work. It might be for their career and vice versa. So what's the lesson? What's their archetype? The archetype is someone else. All of that, some of that, reason, season, or lifetime for the Leos in their work. Same thing, please, for their vocation. Heart, throat, third eye, crown. Chakra dynamic, their hunger, their thirst, their passion, what lights up their soul and their bodies when they do it. That's the 8th chakra. Whoa, 2 cards, and no. I just did the air conditioning on. There will be no humidity pulling 2 cards. Oh yeah, no, I did that in the Cancer reading yesterday. The victim archetype and the virgin archetype came out in the same placement. So please, nice and clean and clear for our beloved Leos, because they are creativity and good fortune, 5th house dynamic. What do you got? What's the 8th chakra thing going on for them in their career? And for their vocation, purely 8th chakra dynamic, for that, their spiritual calling, the inspiration that pulls them forward, August and September 2020. Now, these are already in the title, so let's see how brave you are for showing up. Not terribly brave. These are all good. These are, well, I mean, it depends on how you feel about them, but keep in mind, don't judge an archetype by its name. They're all neutral. So as brilliant and bright and lovely as an archetype may sound, like, I don't know, the lover archetype is as toxic as it is in its shadow, jealousy, envy, and keying people's cars, right? Same thing for the vampire archetype. In its shadow, absolutely scary and toxic, codependent, draining other people. But in its light, makes you aware of who or what is draining you. It's a very powerful thing here. So you've got the gambler in your work, which I can understand that in the world as it is at the moment. The visionary in your career, that's really good placement. And the servant in your vocation. This is good. And I'm glad. This feels very leonine. Particularly in the career part there, but let's keep going. I'm going to read you what's written on the card, the shadow and the light, the lead and the gold. This is the toxicity that is being healed into this if you play your cards right. The gambler archetype is one of the action family members. There are 9 families of archetypes. It's the action family archetype. The shadow attribute, relying on luck rather than hard work. There you have it. Well, maybe. Maybe it'll come my way instead of actually taking action. And I mean, there's nothing wrong with trusting your gut, because that's in the light here. Willingness to follow intuition even when others doubt you. Now, what I find interesting about this is that the direction that the gambler is in the spread as I have it here, is facing the visionary, right, who's also looking in the same direction as the servant. No, they're all sort of facing the same way, all sort of facing the vocation here. So you might be feeling like you need to go out on a limb here to take a risk. Other people might think, are you crazy? But who can predict what's going to happen in this world that it seems every 24-hour cycle we're in a totally different world, and a lot of us are jumping timelines. Morning, noon, and night. So that's interesting. That's definitely about trusting, your intuition in the physical world with the work that you do. But remember, a lot of artists, for example, in their careers, may have a job that then they do their career. My job is as president. I mean, I do all of the work, the running of the company. I don't get paid a cent for it. I get paid for my career, doing readings, healer, teacher, and all that jazz. The visionary archetype, creative family archetype, couldn't beat it for this level of power. This is survival intuition. This is creative intuition, heart, third eye, crown, right? You do it all day long. You don't realize, well, do I want coffee? How do I feel about coffee? What do I think about coffee, right? What do I want for dinner? Where do I want to go, right? And then it drops down into the lower 3 chakras for manifestation. The visionary archetype in its shadow is something we see all the time, selling insights to the highest bidder. Compromising your vision by making it more palatable. And I got to tell you, I've had the visionary archetype since I'm a child. I mean, born with it. What's called the Chronos archetype, pretty much, or at least secondary reason, season, lifetime, really long seasons in my life. And I won't do that. I can't do that. I'm not going to compromise my integrity and my vision. I'm not going to dumb it down. And believe me, on YouTube, I have the opportunity to do that. Nope. No, thank you. Throat chakra, choices, powers, and, that's the career. You get the choices and decisions in your life. You do have free will. So shoot for the light attribute here, because this is gorgeous. Capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others. My whole life. My whole life I've seen it coming in. I don't mean like psychic, third eye stuff. I mean like really you have a vision of what could be. And that can be in any area of life, right? Relationships, certainly art, social justice, all of that kind of stuff, right? You can very much see a picture that other people can't conceive and a willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain. And I could see why other people might doubt you, because it feels like your creative intuition is certainly fueling your survival intuition. To a little bit of a fool card here. Right, looks like the Fool, except it's a tightrope walker, blindfolded. So you have no idea. But isn't that funny? These physical eyes can't see it, but this one can. Lovely. The Servant. If you're going to get the Servant, really. I'm a Virgo. It's our thing. But I am Leo rising. I do make it look good. The Healing family of archetypes. A good place to get it here. It's being a mystical servant, because this is physical, this is mental, emotional, spiritual, this is mystical, which is different than spiritual quite a bit. However, the shadow attribute in the spiritual community, I don't care if it's the pagan community, the New Age community, the crystal community, the chakra community, I see this all the time. Using the lack of money as an excuse not to move forward with life. Well, I would love to. It's like the indentured servant. Now, if you're working your way through things, paying off your bills, I understand this. But in this, in the 8th chakra, vocation is your higher calling. Your 8th chakra is dominant in this level of power. You really have the opportunity to serve a larger purpose, because we already always are. We just don't see it. Maybe you are now with that visionary. The Light attribute, delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. And I have to cough because I just had a nice half a cup of coffee with a lot of half and half. There we go. I don't think that's physical intuition. It's different when I haven't had a cup of coffee in a few hours. All right. Work, career, vocation makes a lot of sense here, particularly if you are an artist on a spiritual path. But remember, artist can mean so many different things. It's not just visual or performing arts, right? But certainly a visionary. Right? We don't think of writers as artists, but they are, right? Absolutely they are. Craft people, right? But who have a vision. And this could even be political, right? Somebody who really sees a larger vision for humanity. It could be all sort of that and wanting to serve it as their vocation. All right, next 4 chakras down. Crown, third eye, throat, heart. Daughters of the Moon Tarot. The internal dynamic, the yin energy, the feminine energy, the world behind your eyes. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon my goddesses of fire in the sign of Leo, please, may I have 3 cards to help clarify what's going on here for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. I don't know, I guess I can relate to those archetypes in my work, career, vocation too, though I try and keep myself out of the reading. Sometimes it's just not possible. So what's going on? Heart, throat, third eye, crown for the Virgo here in their work, career, vocation. We'll do them face down. So what's going on for them in the interior world with the gambler in their work, their survival intuition, how they survive, what's going on in their career with that high visionary vibe, creative family archetype and the creative intuitive level of power. We got that there. And for the servants, so we're looking at the mystical servant, the spiritual servant here in their vocation. What's that looking like, feeling like, thinking like in their heart, their third eye, crown? Let's look. 1, 2, 3 major arcana cards. 3 major arcana cards, and you're not going to like 2 of them, but remember, archetypes are neutral, and tarot is a system of archetypes. Darling, it's all about the tilt. There's no such thing as a good card or a bad card. Just like, ready? Pop quiz. I did this all the time with my witch class students. Good or evil? It's a lighter, by the way, you can't see in the lighting, right? Well, it depends on what I do with it, right? Archetypes are very that. It depends on how where you are on the sliding scale of shadow to light. You in your work, you've got the Coyote. Now, Coyote Woman, this is a feminist deck, Daughters of the Moon Tarot. This is a Native American deity, right? They're tricksters. The trickster says right on it, the trickster, half of the devil card, but this is a feminist deck. They're not doing devil energy. That's patriarchal. No, no, no. This is matriarchal. We're talking about the nature of the divine within ourselves that often has to trick us into doing something that we're terrified to do. There is a shadow on the card, right? You see the coyote casts a shadow. This is very much about facing your shadow. This is very much about looking at, well, how much am I relying on luck rather than hard work? I'll be honest with you, I'd rather work smart than hard. I mean, I'm a witch. Of course I do my spiritual work first, then I get my act together, and then I take it on the road here, so to speak. But the shadow work is really important. I'm really going to recommend that you maybe check out your 7-card draw shadow read for this full moon to new moon next August into September. Just did yours today. Because the gambler there, to get into that light, you've got to kind of face those fears, right? If you're going to tightrope walk, there's a certain amount of courage that is essential there. And I think you might very well find that in your career here, right? This can also, of course, be self-sabotage, as well as this can just be being a little shady, a little tricky, particularly with the gambler. Gamblers can be tricky, but in the shadow, right? And if others are really doubting you, I'm really going to say it feels like, yeah, well, we'll see which is your leverage of the 3, but I think it's here. You've got the visionary with the witch. The witch is the magician in this deck. It's the alignment of fire, earth, air, water, spirit, right? She's at a cauldron with water, fire underneath it, fire, a wand in one hand, as we usually see in the magician card. That would be air, wearing a pentacle around her throat, the symbol of earth, and spirit, a little cone of power drawing down, right, while she stirs the cauldron. This is about manifestation. This is about alignment. This is about being a clear channel of action where the high priestess, which was in the last reading I did, whatever that was, I think it was the Cancer reading I did, it's, yes, there is transmission, there is a channeling, there's being a vessel for the divine to work through, but it's silent, it's yin. This is the yang. This is the manifestation of it, and it feels like you're coming into alignment, heart, throat, third eye, crown, fire, earth, air, water, spirit. And the side of fries. Loving that for you. So, you know, really look at that. I mean, I'll read what's on the card again at the very end. But certainly a capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others in your career. We're really seeing an ability here to incarnate something, meaning to bring it to form, in your career. But that there's some sneaky. You may not be wanting to tell everybody about this because of your fear. Because what? They might doubt you. But you're a Leo. Who cares? Look, if I cared what other people thought, oh, I don't even want to see that quantum variant. I'm sure there are several of them. Most of them are probably dead anyway at this point. In your vocation, you got the servant with the tower. Kali the Awakener. Shall I? Shall I? Oh, of course I shall. Right next to Cassie Sandsmark and Donna Troy up there, we've got Kali! Kali Finger Puppet loves you. Kali Finger Puppet is the goddess of, one of the tantric goddesses, and the goddess of ruthless compassion, who will slap the crap out of us because she loves us. Wake up! Kali the Awakener. This is about being struck by lightning from your archetype, the servant archetype in the 8th chakra, saying, it's time. Here is your wake-up call, which would trigger the visionary. There's a download in play if it hasn't happened yet. This is August and September. But it is definitely something that changes perhaps your entire interior world. I mean, the best example that I can give has nothing to do with this, but it's how I taught tarot for decades. The Tower card. They're not always about external things coming down. As a matter of fact, these are internal cards. Heart, third eye, crown. Imagine somebody who doesn't believe in ghosts or spirits and just thinks it's all poppycock. It's absolute poppycock. And then one morning, in the wee hours, they crack their eyes open and there's their great-great-grandmother staring at them like this. She dead, but she's there, right? all of that disbelief and all of that structuring, that's just gone in an instant. I feel like your service to the divine, and when you get the unity of it all, it's higher self, it's soul, it's all one thing. It's all one light, which we view through many different lenses. It feels like that lightning, that truth is going to hit you. Right? What is your service to the divine within yourself, within life, within nature? What do you serve? What are your highest principles? What are your spiritual truths that you are seeking to incarnate, meaning bring all the way down into physical form? Because that's a huge service on planet Earth right now, but do not think it is going to be easy. Oh, it may be simple. Here are 2 words. Try and incarnate. Ready? Try and incarnate this. Love everybody. No, I mean everybody. I mean, even the people on the news. Yeah. Right? Takes some work, but this is going to happen fast. I would highly recommend prayer, meditation, something or other, because you want to work with Kali, not against her. Just saying. What's this look like on the outer? Oh, I'm in. See, for me to get, I love Kali. I love Kali Ma. I love her. She is, she's Kuan Yin, but when we don't listen, she goes all Kali on us, right? Oh, all gods are one god, all goddesses one goddess. Read Mists of Avalon by Marion Zimmer Bradley. If you can lift the book, you should read the book. Get it on audio now. It's on YouTube. Let's do this. The Mythic Tarot. This will be the lower 3 chakras for your work, career, vocation, the physical world, you from the outside looking in, or you from the inside looking out, and can be both. And you know, this is where we're going to see the financial part of it. This is where we're going to see the boots on the ground, horrible way to say it, how you're walking this, bringing this into form, or somebody involved here. Breathe. So a gambler, a visionary, and a servant walk into an employment agency. Let's see. My gods of fire and the sign of Leo. Please, 3 cards in clarity face down to clarify the physical dynamic here. The root, sacrum, solar plexus dynamic for the Leo collective. Sun, moon, rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading in their work, career, vocation, August and September 2021. They've got the gambler in the 8th with the coyote woman, the trickster inner. There's the outer. In their career, they've got the visionary, which is the level of visionary intuition with that witch, just drawing down the power, drawing down the spirit, which is obviously here in their 8th chakra, drawing it down into physical form, right, of their own free will, of their own creativity here. What's that look like on the outer, please? Lower 3 chakra dynamic. Nope. Just 1 card for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus. I'm watching this video, receiving this reading in their career. And in their vocation, they've got the servant archetype in the 8th, Kali, the tower, the awakener. Definitely going to be a spiritual awakening, considering, but boy, those spiritual awakenings are rough. I mean, particularly if you're struck by lightning. You can't be unstruck by lightning. You can't unknow the truth. You can pretend to, but the gods know that now you know. You don't want to mess with Kali. Oh, Shiva save us. What does this look like on the outer, please, for their vocation? Let's look. 2 major arcana cards and an ace. I think you're going to like this. I think you're going to like this because with the gambler in your work, with the coyote on the inner, you've got the hanged man. Now, I'm going to caution you, if this is relying on luck rather than hard work, I think you've got another thing coming. This is really about surrender to something. This is about sacrifice. This is not necessarily about giving up your dream, but this is giving up perhaps a chill time, right? Maybe you have been chilling. Maybe you have been waiting. But in that time of your work, you've been given the opportunity to see things differently, and keep that in mind. See things differently because of the visionary. Maybe things did get very sabotorial. How many people not just lost their jobs, but their careers, their industries were completely either transformed or wiped out entirely? Maybe they'll rise again, maybe they won't. But certainly with the hanged man, Prometheus bound in Tartarus, rough. This probably wasn't easy for you, and of course made you look at your shadow. I hope you've been doing your shadow work and allowing yourself to feel those fears without acting on them, right? Doing the healing work for yourself, triggered by the events in the physical world. It does make sense. But again, this trickster, this gambler is facing the career position here. Oh, by the way, as is, I see the coyote, and by the way, as is sort of the hanged man. They're all sort of looking in this direction. So it seems like your work is definitely facing your career, and that visionary is definitely facing your vocation. So in your career, the visionary, right? Remember that one? With the witch, remember that one? Being the channel, but action involved here, right? Taking that vision and channeling that forth into what? The Ace of Pentacles. A seed, a beginning, a new opportunity, physical, tangible. A seed must be planted and tended for it to grow. I say it all the time. Not all the time, not all day long. But an acorn is an immature oak tree. You're given an acorn. You can plant it and tend it and grow it. And out of that one acorn, over whatever, how many years, 50 years, 100 years, 200 years, that oak tree grows, it will shed billions, not trillions of acorns, right? And how many of those acorns will turn into trees? No, because you can also crack that under your heel, right? You can also feed it to a squirrel, right? You just toss it in the garbage and maybe it'll grow somewhere else and you'll never know. But there is a golden opportunity here, but it is in potential. It is potential, and it is physical, and it feels like your opportunity has come, and hence the risk. Now, I'm just going to tell you from my own experience, do not share your bubble to bubble poppers. If you know what I'm talking about, don't share your vision with people who have a history of being Edward Needlehands about it, right? Particularly the people who love you and want you to be safe, who may what? Doubt you, right? Because they don't want to see you thrive, they want to see you safe, and that's understandable. The toxicity of the well-meaning, bless their hearts. I mean, seriously, bless their hearts. Sometimes that's the only way to get through without ripping their faces off. Why don't you trust me? Because the world is not you. Yeah, right? So know that this is a golden opportunity in your career that you're incarnating, and remember this is from somewhere, even just beginning to write it down as Ace of Pentacles. In this situation, a visionary with a witch kind of channeling that energy down and say, well, what if? Oh, Abraham Hicks, wouldn't it be nice if? Play that game. Asking it is given. It's a good book. The second part is all the exercises, the games, they call them. I call them exercises. I would, I'm a Virgo. But what have you got? What do you got in your vocation? We're so nuts, us Leos. You got the Servant with Kali, the Awakener with the Chariot. Oh, darling. Oh, honey. Is this going to go fast? Your wheels are going to be spinning unless you put this into creativity in some way. This is, so imagine, here's the image they're giving me. This is kind of funny. So a servant climbing to the top of the mountain and saying, I surrender. I'll do whatever you want. I want my vocation. I want my life to be fulfilling. And Kali says, okay. And then, woo, the chariot takes off really, really, really fast. I think your ultimate leverage here is certainly in your career, but I feel like your joy and your enlightenment is in your vocation. A lot of people don't know what their vocation is. Carl Jung said, and this is a wicked paraphrase, I should write a book called Wicked Paraphrase. He said that most people have two halves of their lives. Their first half of their lives, they build the worldly self, right? Home, career, family, relationships, all of that. And then in the second half, they go into the self, into the interior, right? I believe that's Carl Jung. More their spiritual life. I did it the opposite way around, but good for me. That was how I was written in this lifetime. Well, it feels like you might have had something really stable that you had to sacrifice here in the physical, and now your vocation is calling. Your spiritual awakening may very well be at hand and probably ongoing. But this is certainly about being inspired, taking the reins, the best description I've ever had of the two horses or sphinxes of the chariot, the light horse and the dark horse, inspiration and motivation. Oh, I'm so driven, but I also got to pay my bills, right? Carrot and stick. It's that balance, and hence why often called the Cancerian card, because those two forces of inspiration and motivation. Motivation is usually a little fear-driven. You better or else, right? You gotta get motivated. Well, that's the whip. But the carrot calls you forward. And I feel like your desire to serve and your desire to serve something higher than you is on the table here as well. And as a Leo, to let your light shine. That's what we're looking at here. But remember, light is truth. Careful. I can understand with that coyote woman, the trickster there, maybe not just blabbing your plans to everybody, but also really look at what are your fears. What would happen if you didn't get the approval of the people who usually approve of you? Fixed fire, the sun. We do like having the planets revolve around us, right? So we can shine our light, but what if they all turn their backs? I don't think Kali cares. I think Kali, the Awakener, is going to zap you with lightning anyway. And although we don't see major decision cards here, we certainly do see with that gambler a leap of faith, maybe not away from your work, but really deeper into your career and your vocation. And that golden Ace of Pentacles with Poseidon on the card there. It's Poseidon in the water holding up the pentacle. The god of earthquakes. Yeah, all right, let's keep going. Last three cards down, the Healing Mantra deck by Matt Kahn. Not doing the bookie book because we're doing three of them, but I'm familiar with them at this point. I've done every mantra in this deck for over a year and a half. Please take a nice deep breath. As I call upon the ascended masters of life purpose, seen through the three levels of power of work, career, and vocation, with my eyes closed, please. Three cards in clarity for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. What are the perfect healing mantras for them to heal, to align, to bring into balance, into one alignment and movement of energy, their life purpose into their work, career, vocation, starting with their work? Just got a peek. We got the gambler in their work, coyote woman on the inner, hangman on the outer. What's their healing mantra there? In their career, they got the visionary on the inner, the witch magician. Sorry, they've got the visionary in the 8th chakra, the witch magician on the inner, and Ace of Pentacles on the outer. There's their mantra. And last but certainly not least, in their vocation, they have the servant with Kali on the inner and the chariot on the outer, which just feels like, yeah, really rolling forward. It's actually Aries, the god of war, in that picture. So very driven by inspiration and motivation, willing to burst through whatever needs to be overcome here spiritually in the physical world. What's their perfect healing mantra for that, please, my ascended masters? Well, that's 2. They keep me talking until it's ready, and if it's not, they put 2 in my hand. What's their perfect healing mantras for the Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs in their vocation? Thank you. I just need to focus a little bit more. All right, I'm going to read you the names of the mantras first. Okay, and then I'm going to read you the mantras. Now, I will recommend writing these down, both the names of the mantras and the flip side, which is the mantras themselves. They make lovely little paragraphs of power. Particularly this last one is going to be a little heavy to hear, but I think you'll get it in context. In your work, right, we got the gambler, coyote on the inner, hangman on the outer. Allowing appreciation, the value of my life increases each time I appreciate everything in it. Wasn't I just talking about Abraham Hicks? Wouldn't it be nice if? Well, there's another process in that called Rampage of Appreciation. By the way, you can find Abraham-Hicks, Hicks, on YouTube. Put in the words in this one, wouldn't it be nice if, and the other one, Rampage of Appreciation. You can find them in Asking It Is Given as well. Because when you allow yourself to appreciate where you are, right? So there might very well be the risk. It's like, well, I appreciate the things that have happened in my life that have gotten me to this point in my work, and maybe I've worked hard, and maybe I relied on luck, maybe I'm relying more on luck than I should be, but I'm appreciative of this time that I've gotten because I'm getting some kind of download here, some kind of guidance, some kind of grace that I don't know if I'm ready for, but I wouldn't have received it unless I was ready for it on some level. I may not be ready to take the physical jump here, but I want to. I want to walk that tightrope into a deeper experience of my career and vocation, but also allowing yourself to appreciate everything that got you here. Look, I have worked in some very toxic environments in the New Age, spiritual, magical pagan community. That's an understatement. Wait till that book comes out. Oh, that's going to be my tell-all. But I look back now and it's horrible and it's painful and it's heart-wrenching and dark nighty of the soul, as it was. Oh, she's wearing her dark nighty of the soul. I can look back and see how it all made me better. Right? Matt Kahn's second book, Everything is Here to Help You. Well, it doesn't look that way. But that doesn't mean we can't appreciate that the pain transformed us, right? Our fears are usually some kind of intuition saying that change is coming and a possibility of loss. But I also want to add to that something that Dr. Caroline Myss says. She goes, you know, misery is a form of intuition. So if you've really been miserable here, it feels like you can appreciate that. It's like, no, I get I'm miserable. The expiration date on whatever it is I've been doing was done before everything changed on planet Earth. You know what I'm talking about. In your career, I think you're going to like this. The Visionary with the Witch, with the Ace of Pentacles, remember that? Well, you've got rewiring the nervous system. I find strength in surviving my traumas. That with it, and that's very much what I was saying here in the work. You're going to see that everything you went through in the physical world, lower three chakras, has totally prepared you for this. I find strength in surviving my traumas. I do feel like there was a loss of some kind here in the physical world that now in the heart, throat, third eye, crown dynamic of your career, that's giving you fuel. And I just said this yesterday in one of the 4 or 5 readings I did yesterday for clients and here on YouTube. You know, I love Katrina and the Waves, Walking on Sunshine. It's time to feel good. But, you know, Comfortably Numb has its moments too. How much great art came from pain, from suffering, from trauma. I mean, you can't tell me Pink Floyd's The Wall came out of like, oh, a happy day at the beach. No, we don't need no education, right? Don't need no thought control. I love British men. You can't help it. Told me I used to look like Robert Plant from Led Zeppelin when I was younger with the long blonde curly hair, but that's what happens when you marry a colorist in your 20s. Rewiring your nervous system, right? You are getting stronger, and therefore your vision is getting clearer, and you're being given a new opportunity, but this is all you, darling. That Witch card tells me this is your vision. Yes, it would be nice to have everybody else applaud and agree and take every step with you. I don't get that feeling. I get the feeling you went through some traumatic stuff there. And who hasn't in the past year and a half? I mean, unless you have it like that, where nothing touched you or changed your life at all. I don't see how that's possible, but to each their own. Not everybody's written the same in this world. But there's an opportunity for you to really rewire a lot of what's going on in your nervous system. And your nervous system holds so much stress. And yet, when clear, when released, when healed, is like, I want to say it's the wiring system for that crown chakra to bring down the inspiration into physical form. So there's a real healing going on here. I do feel like with this Witch card, it's up to you. You know, the Magician, the Witch, it's always your choice. But this isn't a quick thing either. All of the major arcana cards are stages, archetypal places we move through in our lives. So I don't see that there's any reason to rush through this, particularly with surviving your traumas. But maybe you get a vision there that helps show you that you survived them and you are stronger as a result. Lord knows I am. I've been through enough in my work, career, vocation, you'd think. And I wrote words of grace from a professional witch when my career was utterly destroyed. Beyond my ability to destroy it. That means what? Well, perhaps the finger of God, the yod, right? If you look at the traditional tarot Rider-Waite deck, those little droplets of light around the tower, and I've seen them in other decks, the Hebrew letter Yod, the finger of God, divine intervention, scheduled to happen, here to make you better, though it don't look that way at the time. Well, here you got the servant, right? Serving God, the divine, whatever you want to call that. It is 8th chakra, right? Being struck by lightning, some clarity, some vision coming in here. With this Chariot, with processing grief. My losses prove how deeply I loved. Of course there was a loss here. Grief, briefly, is love that doesn't know where to go, because the object of affection is gone through death, divorce, or distance. And that can be for a career. That can be, it really feels like your loss here. Why else would the gambler be there, right? It's like the ground might be getting a little trembly, and you have to take a gamble. You have to take a leap. I mean, unless it's like completely, you know, like physically sustaining and all your bills are paid, but it doesn't challenge you and your soul is screaming, right? Your spirit is calling you forward. It does feel like there is a loss here, certainly with the mantra, my losses prove how deeply I loved. But I think you're going to get that by getting up into that 8th chakra, by really receiving the download, the lightning bolt, the flash of clarity and truth from spirit, from the 8th down through heart, third eye, crown, that it's really going to move you forward. And you're going to get that the love was real. The love was real. You did love it. It loved you at one point, but all that rises, falls. There is no death without resurrection. What is it? There is no death without rebirth, no winter without spring, unless you live in the equator or the North Pole, South Pole. And no crucifixion without resurrection in this world. It's all cyclic. So there is a thing, certainly, you hear gaining the reins. And, of course, surviving your traumas, getting new strength here, really understanding that you didn't really do anything wrong. Right? Even the thing of the shadow side of hoping and relying on luck rather than hard work, well, I feel like you just needed the jumpstart, the inspiration to get this larger calling for your life. And I have to say, how many people are feeling grief right now that don't know how to process it? Oh, and here's a little piece I picked up last year. Didn't even know this until I saw it on a YouTube video. I think it was a TED Talk. Anxiety is grief repressed. There's no grief without loss, right? So think about that. You'll overcome all of your losses eventually, and your losses, your grief shows you how much you loved, the power, your capacity, and you will love again. But when you repress it, it's always walking on eggshells waiting for the next loss. So it's a huge healing here for you. And certainly one, bringing this all together allows you to bring true fulfillment into your life purpose here. All levels, all chakras, work, career, and vocation. But remember, this is just a 2-month read, August and September. You might want to check July and August to see what might have led up to it if that is your reading. And certainly I'll be doing them for September, October as well. Or you can book me for a private read, as we said. Let me give you the blessing. Please take a nice deep breath. My beloved pantheons of the divine will be the first to admit this is not an easy read. From my beloved Leo collective, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus signs watching this video, receiving this reading. So may they be blessed with all that they need in their work, career, vocation, that as the gambler in their work, they can find their willingness to follow intuition, because it is guidance, even when others doubt them, and in their career as the visionary, that they develop their capacity to envision what is not yet conceivable to others, with a willingness to proclaim a vision without regard for personal gain, which I really see would be challenged by that coyote there. That in their vocation, their calling, they're able to really develop themselves into the service with a delight in serving others with a free and loving heart. That's where their fulfillment is. And it feels like their leverage is here, but still in the work. With that gambler, there is shadow work that needs to be done. Perhaps a fear of what other people say, or if other people will sabotage them, or they will sabotage themselves. That's normal. Just remember, Wile E. Coyote, super genius, if you know what I'm talking about. And with the Hanged Man here, there's certainly been sacrifice, but hopefully a real seeing things differently. Particularly if we're going in this direction, that some truth is revealed here, and there has to be a sacrifice of looking at things differently. And yet maybe the way they need to look at this differently is to allow appreciation, the value of their life increasing every time They appreciate everything in it, because it's not about more of this or less of that as much as it is really seeing the value around us, and you start small and work your way up to that. That in their career as the visionary, they're able to take the visions and bring them down into the creative intuition for this new opportunity either they are forming or maybe even coming to them. That will help them rewire the nervous system, finding strength by surviving their traumas, which does feel like, again, there is a loss here, a shock to the system of some kind that very well may have been truly traumatic, so that in their calling as the servant, they can take the lightning, they can take the yod, the finger of God, the light, the inspiration, the awakening that comes to them, shattering old norms, shattering old structures, beliefs that no longer serve them, launching them forward into the speed of moving forward as the Cancerian, as they process their grief. Their losses prove how deeply they loved, and considering how many people are losing so much right now, even as I do this reading, I'm well aware of what's going on in the news. I watch it on breaks and I pray. How many people are losing so much so quickly, like the lightning of the tower is hitting just all over the world right now. So any service that they or any of us can be to any of that through the holographic nature of unity consciousness, as we heal us, we heal them, and as we bless them, we bless us. We bless the world because we bless ourselves, because there's no separation between us. We are all in this together, so may they be blessed, allowing appreciation, rewiring the nervous system, the value of their life increasing every time they appreciate everything in it, finding strength in surviving their traumas, and understanding that their losses proved how deeply they loved, and that love is the healer, the answer, the truth of who we are, and the only true purpose for us being incarnate on planet Earth, particularly with that witch card in the heart of the reading here. May they be so blessed and so healed in their work, career, vocation, that they may be mighty, and they may roar with a courageous and open heart for their well-being and for the well-being of all. So mote it be. And so it is. Ooh, last reading of the day. I'm going to eat some chicken. I'm going to step outside and smoke something, probably a cigarette, maybe not. Make some friends, call some friends, call my mom, and take a break and be right back at this tomorrow. I got clients the rest of the week, so if you want to book me for later in the week or this weekend, reach out, watch the video, read my book, because I've been doing work, career, vocation readings since I learned about the 3 levels of power back in, the 90s? Wow, I forget when she did that. But watch the video of her. I think you'll get a kick out of it. And by all means, read my book. It does help. Every time it sells, the number goes up, more people see it. Same thing with the videos, like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. And I love you, my beloved Leonines. Keep the faith. Courage, mon amour. Hail, farewell, and blessed, blessed be.